better than large, Bill. That ain't large.
Yeah. Yeah, it is red striped. White with red stripes, so already much better. And I actually saw this on original fashion illustrations that I can. And this is another scene when it's already he's getting when McGoyle and Amsterdam will fight. And McGoyle, I will analyze his outfit. He has that shirt, and then to also take away, because of the fight, to take away before the boxing thing, he takes away his coat and waistcoat, and so this is a good way of judging. And so he has that same outfit he had in the very beginning, when at the port, when his friend throws the potato at the old lady, and he has that striped shirt. So again, a white and grey stripes, not even a white background, so it's almost like a working man's shirt. So very, very accurate. Only he takes off.
And then maybe they don't share your to walk up decently for himself.
And he has this dark grey swallow dedicated was for sale very recently.
Chisler. You had said chisel. Now there's a word I understand, no?
All that's there. So his shirt, it is more a sort of, it is a less old-fashioned shirt, and what they called back in the, it was introduced, I suppose, apparently it was made in France. In France, they started, the sewing machine caught on more quickly in the 1850s, and by 1858 they had made a special patent shirt, a very new patent for shirt, to be made for sewing machines, to be, that it was easier to make with a sewing machine than the old way, or the more normal way of making shirts, like many shirts are in the film, which are meant to be hand sewn, even if they have not very hand sewn them. And so this was called in America known as a French shirt, because initially the patents came from France, and so it looks way more like a modern shirt. It is basically tailored like those shirts are shirts from the 1890s, and this already existed, the basic pattern. By 58, at least in France, and this is 62 America. So McGoyle could have had a shirt like that because he clearly has more money, and so. But at the same time, he's not rich to have a really well-made, handmade shirt. So he might have had a machine-made shirt that looks like that. It looks more modern. But what I do not like to see is usually the French shirt. There were two options. Usually, they had no collar. They had no full collar and no full cut. So when I explained about the cuts, they did not have it because it was a new principle of doing it, and thus instead they had a small cuff band and a small collar band. And now there are two options. That is why there are two options. The option one is usually more for working class or even farmers that rarely have the need to wear detachable cuffs and collar, to upgrade basically the shirt, or perhaps it is so rare the occasion that in such a case to have a more beautiful, more traditional handmade shirt with actual cuffs and collar, but maybe white, and which they keep solely for very special occasions. And so it is not meant to take a detachable collar or cuffs. Or option two, the same thing but without folding buttons. And at that time period, usually it was not a buttonhole in the back, it was actually a button, because collars were not that starched or that hard and rigid. If they were made out of paper, it was only paper and not the leading laminated. That only begun right when the movie was set. So usually it also, even into the 1870s, a lot of shirts that were meant to take detachable collars only had a buttonhole in the back, not a buttonhole meant to take a back collar stud, because many detachable collars were not as rigid, and thus would not really require that extra easier to insert for rigid fabric stud, back collar stud. But there McGoyle has wide cuffs, like almost as wide as those, and clearly sewn in, and the collar is also high and there's a full collar. And McGoyle, by that year, in that context, that sort of person, his sort of social class and means, he would have the option, he would most likely have had a French shirt. It went for the option of the French shirt instead of the more traditional shirt that, for example, the butchers sports, and also Amsterdam here is one sec. So went for the option of the French shirt, it looks like. So go the full way and have it more accurate. Again, this is a missed opportunity because he takes away, before fighting, he takes away his coat, his waistcoat, and even his cravat. And it was a good opportunity that he could even have taken off his his detachable collar and cuffs, and it could even have been made out of paper, or I think in 1861 they introduced steel detachable collars that were popular for a while in America, and even some people complained that slavery had just been abolished, so it was not to have a new form of imprisonment by having a steel collar instead of a steel necklace like they put onto the slaves. So that they could have had him, especially since he is for slavery. It could have been a sort of blink in the eye, and it was a sort of unconscious message to put to the audience. He's for slavery, so in a way he puts a steel detachable collar as if he was himself a slave. I mean, they could have done something more realistic, and it was especially a good opportunity to see the detachable collar or cuffs, and why not even bosom instead of simply a plain shirt with everything attached. So this is a missed opportunity.
It's just a kid.
Especially since he then continues to wear it when they walk, which is said just after. And as proof of that, he is not ready for fully dressed up. Again, McGall has not rebuttoned this collar or retied his neckcloth. It's not even there, and he only has his waistcoat, which is not even buttoned. He carries his coat. So it would have been nice to see detachable collar and cuffs. That is.
Which part of that?
Again, the shirt itself is accurate, at least what we see of it,
I've been told,
but
Carrie,
it is not really accurate in terms of the context. And yes, this is a good thing. I'm rewatching that scene at 45 minutes 27, when the chap with the long reddish hair of the gang, he gives back the harmonica that was stolen to McGoyle, as Bill the Butcher and Amsterdam having a conversation in the front. I just saw the top of the top hat of that character, and it is clearly not Gossamer, as I said previously. It is not, because imagine that is the top hat. It does this, it collapses into itself. And Bill the Butcher is again wearing that same brown top hat, not the one with the blue ribbon, the other one that was for sale. And on the sale thing, it simply says beaver fur. So I guess it does not contain a beaver, but again the seller, which it is sold by the production company that made the clothing, they might not even know what the Gossamer is and not be bothered to tell. So it is very hard to know. I'm still not quite so sure about that top hat, and I want to know.
Ireland was in the talk of the others at the orphan asylum.
And which part of that excrementitious isle were your forebears spawned?
So basically that character will have a golden top hat. Yeah, I see it well. Yes, it is actually very true. When he stands up, it seems very straight. When he stands, I mean, when he's facing here from either sides, and one says the top hat, says the top of it, it seems a very straight angle, as if it was very flat on top. But to achieve that, he actually has it really punched into, I mean, to the point that he could literally have a small marble put onto his hat, and it would take some time to fall off. It would basically just go around like so within the circle of the top. So what that is it is not gossamer for sure. It is simply a very dense, most likely I'm almost sure that is beaver felt. So a very dense, full beaver felt.